Alice and Aaron were born 7 minutes apart. She was the first, but no one in the family ever mentioned this. His victories were framed, his defeats were explained as temporary difficulties. Alice was the shadow. She was quiet, loved to read, asked a lot of questions, and did not fit their idea of an ideal daughter. She was called difficult even before she learned to read. The 25th birthday celebration took place in the backyard of her parents' house, a large one with flower beds and a fountain that her father so carefully maintained. The tables were overflowing with food. The guests were laughing and glasses were clinking. But this celebration was not for both of them. It was Aaron's party. He deserves it, the mother whispered to Aunt Sarah, nodding toward her son. After all he's done. Alice heard the words out of the corner of her eye, though she wasn't trying to eavesdrop. She was just standing by the appetizer table, a plastic cup of lemonade in her hands. In the middle of the evening, the solemn moment came. The father asked for silence, got up on a small makeshift stage, and proudly said, "Son, your mother and I wanted to do something special for you, something that will last a lifetime." He opened the box, took out a set of keys, and handed them to Aaron. "This is your new home, and our gift to you." The people applauded. Aaron hugged his parents, accepted the toast, and left. Alice stood silently, swallowing the bitter warmth in her chest. She didn't envy her brother. She just didn't feel like a part of this family anymore. "And of course we haven't forgotten about you, Alice," her mother said, turning to her with that tight smile she always saved for formalities. Alice came closer. Her mother held out an envelope containing a lottery ticket. "We bought it on the way here," her father added. "It cost $20. Maybe we'll get lucky, huh? Someone has to win." He laughed, and someone else echoed his laughter. For a second it seemed like everyone was looking down at her. "Well," Aunt Sarah said with a sip of wine, "you've always been lucky for the unexpected." Alice smiled, but it was the kind of smile that covers a broken heart. She thanked him, tucked the ticket into her coat pocket, and returned to her corner of the garden. People were laughing, dancing, congratulating Aaron. And she looked up at the starry sky and thought of only one thing: this is not over. You have no idea what's just beginning. The morning after the party, Alice woke up to a strange calm. It was as if the world had finally stopped. The house was quiet, with only sounds coming from the kitchen. Her mother was frying eggs for Aaron. Again, just for him. Alice was not hungry. She wrapped herself in an old sweatshirt and went outside. The air was still cool and the grass was covered with dew. She sat down on an old bench near the lilac trees and pulled the envelope out of her coat pocket. A lottery ticket, $20. It seemed pitiful compared to the keys that had shone in her brother's hands yesterday. But today it was her only possession, her only hope. And strangely enough, she didn't despise it. She pulled out her phone and opened the lottery app. Her heart was beating steadily. She was no longer interested in the outcome, not after all. She was used to defeat. Almost intuitive whispered that this ticket meant more than it seemed. Alice punched in the winning numbers. 5, 12, 23, 36, 48. Powerball. 17. Her gaze slid over the numbers on the ticket. First match. Second. Third. Fourth. When she reached the last one, Powerball, her fingers trembled. 17. She stared at the ticket and the screen. And again, the ticket. And again. No, it wasn't a joke. Not a system glitch. It's a winning ticket. The jackpot. A message popped up on the screen. "Congratulations, you've won $168 million. The world around him hadn't changed. The sun was still rising. The birds were still singing. But inside Alice, something collapsed and immediately grew back up. Like an old building being demolished to make way for a skyscraper. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just sat there for a long time. She looked into the distance and thought, they have no idea what they have done. They gave me not just a ticket. They gave me power, and I will use it. The same day, Alice visited the bank. She silently signed the documents. Listened to the advice of the financial advisor, not showing any emotion. She asked to remain anonymous. "You want to remain an unknown winner?" The woman at the desk asked. Alice smiled. For now, after the bank, she went to a coffee shop, her favorite, the one where she always felt at ease. She ordered a cappuccino, sat by the window, and opened a new note on her phone. The top line: Plan, version 1.0. Do not show up at home. Transfer money to a reliable fund. Buy new documents. Create a legend. Return only with a triumph. She scrolled through social media. Her brother posted a new photo. He was standing on the threshold of his new home, with a caption, "When hard work is rewarded." Thank you, family. Alice liked it, just a like, and then she closed the app. At that moment she realized now she would not just survive. She would start hunting, and her main weapon is silence. 3 weeks passed. Alice disappeared from the house the same day she checked the ticket. She simply packed her bag, left a note, short, polite, nothing more, and disappeared. They didn't look for her. They thought that she was offended again. Like in childhood when she would sit in her room and not come out for dinner, but this time it was different. Alice rented an apartment in the city center. Luxurious but not flashy. Minimalism, white glass, light wood. The fridge is in perfect order. In the closet are clothes she had never owned. Designer clothes, classics, the smell of new life. She studied body language, online courses in business, psychology of influence, even rhetoric. She wasn't just investing money, she was investing herself. The old Alex silent, forgottenness in the past. The new one had no name, no face, no regrets. Only a cold gaze and a plan. One evening, she went to a restaurant where the city's elite politicians, entrepreneurs, and journalists always gathered. She sat in the corner, ordered white wine, and watched. She wore a black dress, a sleek ponytail, and heels that sounded like shots on marble. She was not there for a photo. She was there to study the game. Who shakes hands with whom? Who laughs fake? Who looks back before saying something? It was her new world, and she felt at home in it. At the same time, everything in the family was going on as usual. Aaron was getting used to his new home, posting on social media every day and having barbecues with friends. The parents did not remember their daughter. She chose her own path, said the mother. You cannot help someone who does not want to. But Alice remembered every look they gave her, every prejudice. Every "that's just the way she is." She wrote it down, not on paper, but in her heart. And each of their perfect days brought her closer to the moment when she would return. Not as someone who asks for a seat at the table, but as someone who owns the whole restaurant. She chose a new name, Leah Carter. She created a fake company. She hired a lawyer, an investor, a specialist. Everything was legal. Everything was beautiful. But there was a goal in every step, a return. And when she was accidentally photographed next to the governor at a charity event, the photo appeared in a magazine. Mysterious businesswoman. Who is Leah Carter and why is everyone talking about her? Alice just smiled as she turned the page. The plan had begun to work. It was a Saturday. Summer was just beginning, and the sun was not yet blazing, but it was already warm, as if to hint that it would soon be hot. The family gathered in the yard of the new house that now belonged to Erin. Barbecue, music, relatives who kept asking, "How are you, Erin? Are you settled in? How many rooms? Wow, is that a pool?" Allison knew this day was coming. She wanted it to happen. She didn't arrive alone. A car, a white Range Rover with tinted windows, pulled up at the gate at exactly 4:00 p.m. She was the first to get out, sunglasses on, a suit the color of creamy ice, her hair tied back, her movements confident. Next to her was her lawyer, a tall, silent man in gray. And to others from the department, they were recording everything. She approached the gate. She rang the bell. Aaron opened it. For a few seconds, his eyes were filled with surprise, then incomprehension, and then fear. "Hello, brother," Alice said calmly. "I heard you have a new house. Can I see it?" "You? Where are you from? What's wrong with you?" he blurted out. "From the city. Business, charity, millions, nothing special." She took off her glasses. "Except, I won the lottery jackpot. Remember that $20 ticket?" Silence spread through the yard like spilled wine. Everyone stopped talking. Even the grill stopped searing, as if the world had stopped to hear that phrase better. The mother came out onto the porch. She saw her daughter and tried to smile. The same motherly smile Alice hadn't seen in years. "Alice, daughter, you haven't written to us. We were worried. You were worried." She laughed softly, without malice, but with venom. "I wonder which of you thought of me when you were celebrating your housewarming." No one answered. Only Aaron rubbed the back of his head nervously. Alice opened her purse and pulled out an envelope. Here, $50,000. It's for you, Mom. For your unpaid dreams. You could say it's compensation for all that's already there. She held out the envelope and put it right on the table. She didn't wait for anyone to take it. And one more thing she added about this house. The property has been in my name for a week now. Everyone is frozen. But don't worry, I'm not going to kick you out. No, that would be too easy. You can live here, but you'll get a bill every month. Because this is not your son's house anymore. It's my investment. Alice turned and walked to the car. Her heels clinked on the tiles again, while everyone else stood there, shocked, with faces that mingled shame, anger, and inexplicable fear. She didn't cry. She did not look back. Her plan is not yet complete. This is just the introduction. A year has passed. Lee Carter was already being talked about all over the country. She had founded a foundation to support girls from families in crisis, invested in technology, saved a small airline from bankruptcy, and taken a pilot's course herself. Her photos appeared on the covers of magazines and she was quoted on TV. Everything she built seemed to be made of marble and steel, but in reality, it was a wall of principles, drenched in cold revenge. A family. They lived like tenants in their own past. Every month we received bills with the stamp of Carter Invest. My mother tried to call. My father wrote letters. Aaron once came to see her in person. He stood in the lobby of the business center. Everything in him was screaming, I want to go back to the warmth of my family. She came out to him, but not as a sister. What do you want her to talk, to understand, to get back? Well, at least something. I wonder, what is it? Respect, love, trust. It's just, I was a fool. Yes, you were, and now I'm late. And she walked away, leaving him in the middle of the hall. Smelling of coffee and success, she never looked back. On the anniversary of the win, she sat down again on the same bench by the lilacs. Now it was her home, her land. Everything that was done to it, she turned into an empire. She pulled out an old lottery ticket. She kept it as a reminder. The phone rang. Miss Carter, you are invited to speak at TED. The topic is how to win in life, even when everyone gives up on you.